Okay, so it looks like Diego Léon will officially join Manchester United next June, and obviously I will give the insight on what to expect from him. How did this all happen? Better than anyone out here. So let's go with the least interesting part of this entire transfer. Obviously, Diego Leon will be a Manchester United player. He'll join in June of next year when he turns 18. He'll turn 18 in March. That being said, obviously, this is a player that had got a lot of interest from numerous clubs all across Europe. Clubs like Arsenal, clubs like Manchester City, but ultimately it was Manchester United that ended up getting his signature. And obviously, he is a player that is ultimately very raw. And, I'll get to that in a bit. But, this is a player that obviously has a lot of potential playing as a left back, starting so young at 17, straight into the first team at Cerro Porteño. And I think it's certainly going to be interesting to see how this all transpires when he does make this move. The plan, of course, from Ineos and Ruben Amorim has always been to find a new left back. And I think for someone like Diego Leon, it's going to depend really on how his development will be because, of course, him joining 18 and hopefully getting some consistent playing time will allow him to be a homegrown player. And that might actually help Manchester United in terms of their finances and, of course, not being able to have any issues with non-EU regulations. But, of course, Manchester United fans will have to wait until June to see him, but that doesn't mean that you can't see him at Cerro Porteño under new manager Diego Martinez. He'll be playing in the Apertura that will begin next month, and the Copa Libertadores, South Americans equivalent to the Champions League, where Cerro Porteño will look to advance very deeply in the competition. And now the most interesting part, what kind of player is he? I think he's a player that obviously has had such a huge rise since making his debut back in August, slotting into that left back position. As you can see here in this heat map, he definitely likes to occupy that left flank very well. He's already got a couple goals in, his 19 games so far, 18 of them where he was a starter in his first season as a professional. So clearly someone that obviously has what it takes to be a professional player and to do it right from the get-go. I think it makes sense why clubs like Manchester United wanted to get him. And of course, left backs are a huge resource for any type of club, so it's not exactly surprising for Manchester United to go in this kind of market. I think when you see clubs like Chelsea, Brighton, and other clubs, even in the Premier League, try to go into different markets, not overspend on bigger, important players, I think it shows what Ineos and Ruben Amorim are trying to do. And I think they're trying to do something with Diego Léon. But ultimately, he's very strong. He's very physical. He's 5'11". For someone that is 17, I think you can say that he's probably going to get even bigger in terms of strength, more so if he goes to England. I think he's certainly someone that is obviously good and resourceful with the ball. He's very quick. You see him in that kind of heat map be very versatile in how he performs, occupying that left flank and trying to also track back. I think he's good on that one-on-one situation if he needs to be, working with duels. Obviously, he's not perfect. I think having watched him, as I'm a Cerro Porteño fan, so I've been able to see him up close. He's still very raw. He's still very aggressive. I think the way that he plays, maybe sometimes he likes to, go so much and really overdo it with like deliveries. But again, those things could be coachable. I'm not saying that he's a perfect player, but I think for someone like Manchester United to get him, I think clearly shows that there is some sort of talent there. But why would Manchester United go for someone like Diego Leon? Well, I think ultimately it's down to how Paraguay have been performing. They're doing so well in the World Cup qualifiers. They beat Brazil, they beat Argentina in the last few months. You look at Paraguayans playing in the Premier League like Miguel Miron at Newcastle. You have Julio Enciso playing at Brighton, Ramon Sosa playing at Nottingham Forest. Brighton also just got Diego Gomez, who did so well at Inter Miami. So I think there is that level of interest of Paraguayans wanting to play in the Premier League. And I think for someone like Manchester United to get someone like Diego Leon, it shows, hey, I want a piece of that. But ultimately, I'm very excited for this transfer. I'm really looking forward to see how he does at Old Trafford, training at Carrington, training under Ruben Amorim. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of plan that they're going to get him used to. But ultimately, I'm very happy. I just want him to develop. I want him to learn what it takes to play in English football, and let everything else go into his hands. But I'm really excited for this, and hopefully that he does impress in these next 6 months before making that jump to England, and he is a better player than we've already seen him on YouTube or major games.